I'm Ric Edelman. When do you start saving for your kids' college education? How about yesterday? And how can you protect yourself from cyber crooks? Use cybersecurity, of course. And Jean Edelman tells us why clear communication is so important, something she tells me every day. All that and much more on this edition of The Truth About Money.
This program is funded in part by TD Ameritrade. At TD Ameritrade, we support investors and independent registered investment advisors every day, providing access to tools, research, and educational resources that help you pursue your goals with confidence.
I'm Ed Burns. I've spent a lot of time around cameras. However, I've never actually swallowed one before. Till now. It's a camera the size of a pill that lets your doctor see inside of you. That's kind of awesome.
Technology is evolving. We believe the way to invest should evolve as well. A prospectus is available at 1-800-iShares, which includes investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and other information that you should read and consider carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal.
I'm Ric Edelman. The truth about money is it's important to save some for when you and your family might need it in the future. But what's the difference between a need and a want? I believe the answer is just dollars and cents.
Hi, Rick. My name's Brian, and I have a question for you. I have two daughters in elementary school, approaching 10 years old. I'm just wondering, how much money am I going to need to have saved or put away right now so that I can support them through college?
You're going to need to save a whole lot more than you want to know the answer to, I'm afraid. Part of the answer comes down to what kind of college are they going to go to, private school or a public school, in-state or out of state. And is grad school in their future? Because obviously that is going to more than double the expenses associated with it. There are lots of online calculators that are available to help you figure out how much money college will eventually cost and how much money you need to save right now in order to meet that target. But all of those calculators are really irrelevant because at the end of the day, you only have a certain amount of money available that you can use to save for college. I want to make sure you have enough money saving toward retirement first, but let's assume that's taken care of and you do have money available for college. Here's what you should do. Number one, set up a 529 college savings account. Do this for each of your children. Second, talk with your children right now. I mean, even if they're only 2 years old, and begin to let them understand two very important things. Number one, college is in their future, and it's going to cost a lot of money. And number two, they are not going to get a free ride. Not from scholarships, not from grants, not from loans, and not from mom and dad. Kids need to be actively involved in the college selection process because they need to understand the incredible cost and the implications of that cost post-graduation. There's nothing worse than saddling a college grad with $50,000 or $200,000 worth of debt, money that they will then spend 20 years trying to pay off. Going to college these days is a family affair, so you need to start saving and you need to start including the kids in the exercise. The rich and the powerful have slightly different lives than most of us, so we asked them just one question, Celebrity Edition. What did you teach your kids about how to manage money?
We have a 3-jar system, mason jars. It's spend, save, and charity. So when they get money, they get so much that goes in the spend jar, so much in the save jar, and so much they have to give to charity. So I'm trying to really instill them to save, 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 and then when an opportunity comes by, you can grow your money and make more money.
If you have a mortgage, then you know the benefits of the mortgage interest tax deduction. But there are also risks involved in home ownership. As a financial advisor, I'm asked about real estate all the time, and that was one of the subjects that came up when I held one of my seminars at the historic Weinberg Theater in Frederick, Maryland.
I bought my home in 2008. Sympathy, right? Okay. The market was up here and then took a nosedive. So I'm currently upside down. For the first 7 years of this loan, it's a tax and interest only. So I've just recently started paying toward the principal. So I have looked into refinancing and nobody will touch me. Is there anything I can do?
This is a 30-year mortgage?
Yes.
What's the value of the house?
Currently, probably around $170,000.
What did you pay for it?
$241.
I just thought I'd mention that so everybody could feel sorry
Yeah.
for you.
They're
So
going sucker.
it's worth $170,000, and what is the mortgage balance?
About $235,
And what is the interest rate on the loan?
about 5.5%.
And are you able to make the monthly payments?
Absolutely, I've never been late.
Do you plan on moving anytime
I
soon?
would love to.
No, I know you would love to.
Okay, yes.
Are you planning on relocating? Are you leaving the area?
Probably not leaving the area.
Okay. And the reason you would love to move is
What's a townhome?
it's too small.
It's too many people there.
Oh, you don't like the neighborhood. You'd rather have some land. You'd rather have
We
more
want some
space.
land,
Yeah,
yes.
we all want space.
Yeah.
That's what we all want is space. Doesn't matter how much you have.
But more
we
than
want-
that, I don't want to throw this money away like I am.
Okay. First of all, you're not throwing the money away. The reason you're not throwing the money away is that if you took this amount of money, you'd spend it on equivalent rent. It is housing at the end of the day, so you're not throwing the money away. The alternative is being homeless. It is unlikely that you're going to be able to refinance the loan because of the type of structure you described it is. There are federal and state programs under development and some already in place that are designed to help people in your situation. You need to continue staying in contact with your mortgage lender to be aware of what these programs are, to see if you do in fact qualify for them. You and many millions of other Americans are in this situation, and the government realizes that you and those millions of others are the number one cause of the sustainment of the current economic weakness our country is experiencing. And the sooner we solve your problem, and that of the several other million people, the sooner the economy will get into full recovery mode and everyone will be better off. There will be pain along the way. You will suffer some pain as you recognize the loss of the market value of the property. The lender will suffer as they don't get fully repaid the money that they were owed. And your credit record will take a ding as well if you walk away. There is only one alternative strategy to also consider, and that is a short sale. Have you looked into that?
No, I'm really not interested in that. I really would like to refinance right now.
It's unlikely that you're going to be able to right now. And since you're able to make the payments and that's not a financial strain for you, the best bet is to continue doing what you're doing, stay in the property, wait for either the alternative loan programs to surface where you will be able to refi, or wait for the market value of the property to recover, which it eventually will, but it may take an extraordinarily long time, which is why I asked how important is it that you move. The fact that you want to move isn't terribly motivating.
Right. Okay. Is it ever a good idea to take money from something else and pay down the principal on the house?
No.
Okay.
No, that would be the worst possible thing you could do. Because right now, you haven't really lost much money. The bank has. You bought the house for $240,000 and the mortgage is $235,000. You only put down $5,000. The bank is on the hook for $70,000. So you want to bail out the bank?
Good point.
I know, that's why I made it.
That's why you're up there.
Stay in the house, keep making the payments, keep your credit record intact so that when those programs become available or the market value improves, you'll be ready to jump at that point.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
To pay for your child's college education, you should A. Get a home equity loan, B. Apply for student loans, C. Hope your child is a top athlete, D. Save in a 529 plan. What do you think? We'll be right back with the answer.
How do you protect your financial future? Well, in one word, save. But in today's world, where criminals are lurking in the dark alleys of cyberspace, how do you keep what's yours yours. In this week's Future Finance, cybersecurity expert Mark Goodman says that anyone who uses a computer can be robbed in the blink of an eye. You said early on that you consider yourself a technology utopian.
I definitely see the upside of technology, and I myself am a techno-utopian, but I spent 20 years in law enforcement, and I understand how bad guys think. And so they are excited about these technologies.
The bad guys.
The bad guys. And they're paying close attention. They're doing their own research and development efforts in robotics. For example, it might surprise people to know that the Cali cartel has a $5 million R&D budget for robotics so that they can take submarines and load them up with narcotics and send them up to the shores of the United States remotely controlled. So they're very much at the cutting edge of technology.
One of the big fears that people have, and which I counsel my clients all the time, is privacy protection. How do we protect ourselves against privacy theft?
The simple matter is that more and more of our lives are being lived digitally. And the systems themselves are insecure. So any basic computer system is easily subverted by a hacker. Robbery used to be a one-on-one affair. You know, I'd get a gun or a knife, I'd show up in a dark alley and I'd rob you. Now, using computers and technology, one person can log in and steal the credentials and accounts of 100 million people. So if you store any of digital information online and you're not encrypting it, then you're at risk to have that data stolen.
So is that really all it comes down to? Encrypt it?
That would be a great place to start. But even if you encrypt your data, when you turn it over to another third party, you have to count on them to have good information security too. So you do a transaction with a large online retailer, they're now storing your credit card data, your home address, your phone number, and if they don't do it securely, you will find that your data's been taken.
So what are the steps that consumers can take?
There's lots of different things you can do. Probably more important than anything else is have a different username and password for every account that you use.
So if you're going to have a different password and account number for every different usage, I know what everybody's saying, I can't remember all this stuff.
Right, absolutely, and that's tough.
And so we end up using passwords that are easy to remember and therefore easy to hack.
The biggest computer security threat are where the hands meet the keyboard.
So what do we do about the fact we can't remember all these passwords?
So there are several different password programs that lock your data basically in a vault. They can generate 25-digit passwords that will be almost impossible to crack. So what you do is you put in your 25 different logons for all your different sites in there, and you use one master password.
And what about the use of mobile devices and using web or Wi-Fi hotspots in airports and restaurants and coffee shops?
So people are at tremendous risk when they use a network that's not their own. When you're using somebody else's network, whether you're browsing at a university, in an airport, in a shopping mall, and aren't using a virtual private network or a VPN, then all of your traffic can be sent in the clear. And the guy sitting 2 doors down from you can be reading everything you're typing, reading your Facebook stream. He can even listen to your music on your iTunes account because you're not using a VPN.
And what about using or doing banking from such a public site? Should I restrict my personal banking to my own computer at home?
You should not be using anybody else's computer to do your banking. Most bank accounts are governed by FDIC insurance here in the United States for consumer accounts. So, and the same is true for credit cards. You'll be protected. So you're only liable for the first $50 on a credit card that may be defrauded from you. On a debit card, that's not the case, and you could be liable for the whole amount. Also, for small business owners, they may not realize this, but if they have a bank account with $100,000 in it, their life savings, that is not covered by FDIC insurance. That only applies to consumer accounts. Criminals are recognizing that. They're taking $200,000 or $300,000 out of a small business owner's account.
But what does the crook care whether or not the account holder will get reimbursed? If I got 300 grand in a consumer account versus a business account, I still keep the 300 grand, I stole it.
That's an excellent, excellent question. Here's why they care. Because on the consumer side, when the bank suffers the loss, they have a huge division of hundreds of security people that will try to recover it. When you as a small business owner suffer the loss, you don't have those resources. So the criminals feel less threatened.
It's the lion going after the old, sick animal.
Exactly correct.
Because it'll be easier to take down.
Correct.
We have seen clients on occasion send us emails saying, please send me X amount of money and wire it to this bank account. And because we know our client, we know that it's not them. We've make a phone call to the client who says, yeah, I didn't send you an email. What happened was his email account got hacked. So it just demonstrates that these crooks are pretty sophisticated these
They're
days.
learning. And for 8 to 12 hours a day, they're showing up at their criminal organization, logging on to their criminal computer network, and they're trying to attack your accounts.
Is there an investment opportunity in the protection side of technology?
Definitely. I think there's tremendous opportunities for people that can really figure out security, but most of the stuff that's going on in the field today is not quite there yet.
So why is it, in the face of all of these problems, do you consider yourself optimistic about technology?
There's a couple of reasons for it. I believe in my heart that there are many more good people in the world than there are bad. And if more good people are leveraging that technology, then it will inure to the public's benefit. But at the same time, we still need to pay attention to these risks and just navigate them.
Mark, thanks so much for your time.
Pleasure's mine.
How should you pay for your child's college education? The answer is D. Save in a 529 plan.
These days, it seems like there are as many tax forms as there are stars in the sky. So what do you do when you don't like one tax form? Well, on my radio show, I recently had to talk one taxpayer off the ledge. Listen to what he wanted to do. First up, we got Joel. He's on the phone from Virginia. Hi, Joel. How are you?
Hi, Rick. Hey, I'm trying to eliminate this 8606 from my taxes. I'm 73, so I've been doing it for a while. Can I take everything out of that account, that IRA account, and thus eliminate filing an 8606 in the future?
Yeah, but there's some fine print.
Yeah, I don't think...
Well, first, let's back up and explain what an 8606 is. You have made contributions to a non-deductible IRA.
Foolishly.
And, well, you said it, not me, but we're not going to disagree. When you file... when you contribute to a non-deductible IRA, you have to tell the IRS you did that by filing Form 8606 in each of the years that you made the contribution. If you fail to file the form, there's a $50 penalty for each year you fail to file the form. So you now have a bunch of money in a non-deductible IRA, and you are dealing with the nuisance of this paperwork on an annual basis. And so, Brandon?
Yeah, so what Joel wants to do is just take out the sum total of all of his non-deductible contributions, so he can get rid of this filing headache. And unfortunately, you can't do that. So the way the IRS treats the IRAs is the total sum of all of your IRAs, non-deductible contributions, deductible contributions, and all the earnings is what counts. So if, as an example, he put $10,000 into non-deductibles and the total value is $100,000, if he takes out 10 grand,
10% of it's is tax-free.
It's tax-free.
And the other 90% is taxable.
So,
and so what you're really saying actually is it's not all of his IRAs, it's all of his IRA accounts. You only have one IRA.
As far as the IRS is concerned.
The IRS says you have one IRA. You may have multiple accounts, and you may have even designated one as non-deductible. The IRS says you've got one. And as a result, you can't segregate. It must come out pro rata.
But you guys are making an assumption here that I'm not sure is true.
He may just be saying, should I just liquidate the account completely?
No. Here's my question. Joel, do you have, in addition to your non-deductible IRA, do you also have deductible IRAs?
Yes.
All right, that's the assumption you guys were making, that he had both. Because if he only had the one, it would be clean and simple.
No, I got them both.
And that's the mess. So you see the point that they're making, Joel. If you have a non-deductible IRA and a deductible IRA, the money has to come out pro rata from all of it.
But can't I eliminate all of my IRAs?
You could.
Yeah, but you're gonna have a huge tax liability if you do that.
what's the total value, Joel, of all of your IRAs?
About $500,000.
And how much of that is non-deductible?
About 15.
Okay, so yeah, so you're going to pay tax on $485,000 to eliminate.
Yeah,
keep filing that form.
Keep filing the form. It's a nuisance, as you said. It was foolish. It made sense when you did it. I understand. I'm not going to beat you up about it.
I don't mind paying the the taxes. I'd like to get rid of the 8606.
Now, Joel, what I'm hearing is you hate this form so much that you're willing to pay taxes on $485,000 of income this year.
To avoid a form that costs you $50 a year.
He hates this form, you know.
So, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be laughing. But it is kind of funny. I mean, it's.
So I'm stuck with this until I have no money left in any of the accounts.
Yeah.
Correct.
Joel, this form is driving you nuts. Hire an accountant to do your tax return. Let the accountant fill out the form, and all you do is sign the 1040, and you don't have to look at all the rest. When you're flat broke, you can't even afford to laugh. Unless, of course, you're a comic, and then it's your job to make people laugh at your expense.
I have a lot of experience with the lack of money. I spent 7 years in grad school. Any other grad school survivors here? Wow. You know, I should have known that the one show that the Improv has like all year that only costs $10 to get in. Of course, it's it's all the grad students. That's where you guys are. Hi. Yeah, we used to just kind of try to keep ourselves entertained in grad school because we didn't have much money, so we'd place little bets with each other on everything, just little bets like $2, $5. We used to bet when we were administering exams on how many cheaters we would catch during an exam. We called it Procter & Gamble.
If you could ask a financial advisor just one question, what would it be? Here's one we hear from a lot of people. What's the biggest mistake people make when investing?
Don't ever think it's too late to get started. I know that's one of the things people always say, and then there's always this intimidation factor of, oh my gosh, you know, I'm never going to be able to retire. But recognize that if you just start from somewhere, and again, you're willing to listen and willing to have somebody work with a financial advisor who can keep you accountable to your goals.
Typically, what I see is that people will save to a certain level, and then they get nervous about the amount of money they have, and they're not sure where to put the next dollar. There's a critical mass, and it's different for different people.
Babies and dogs are usually pretty clear about what they want. When babies are hungry, they cry. When dogs want to go out, they bark, or worse. But have you ever had a conversation with a coworker or a family member and walked away saying, I have no idea what they just said? Well, no longer. My wife and business partner, Jean, has a few tips on clear communication in this edition of The Other Side of Money.
Communication is absolutely a two-way street. What am I saying and how are you hearing it? It's really important to be heard, and it's really important to be understood. And so that's our responsibility, to make sure that we're communicating well with everybody around us. It's a real art to actively listen to someone. A lot of times if we're in conversation at work or in a meeting or at a party or whatever, we're either making the shopping list or we're thinking about what we want to say, and we're not really listening to the person that's speaking. And so it takes practice to be an active listener. If you're an active listener, you're facing the person, you're not fidgeting, your hands aren't in your pocket, you're not, playing with the coins in your pocket or anything like that. And you're actively there in the conversation. You're asking engaging questions, and you're truly interested. Body language is important too. When someone holds your hand, maybe when they're speaking to you, or maybe when you're done, you get a hug, or you're leaning in, showing how engaged you are in the communication that's going on. That is a piece of how we communicate. Our message matters, and how we're being heard matters. And we need to speak up when it's important to us.
I think I know what she means. Whether you're at work or at home, if you want people to know what you mean, then say it clearly and without anger. Thanks, Jean. And a few other words as we wrap up. If you plan to help your kids through college, the earlier you start saving, the better. Otherwise, student loans are the way to go. And if you're underwater on your mortgage, then you need to give serious thought about whether selling is worth the financial hit. And keep an eye on your bank accounts and investments so that the high-tech crooks don't rob you blind. Finally, if you hate filling out tax forms, have somebody else do it. Someone who's qualified, that is. And that's the truth about money. I'm Ric Edelman. I'll see you next week. To learn more about the topics we discussed on this episode and a chance to ask your questions, visit our website at truthaboutmoneytv.com. And stay connected by liking us on Facebook and following us on Twitter.